Welcome to Pickleball Nation.
What's up, pickleballers? Welcome back to Pickleball Nation, where we're here to give you news, information, and tips on the game of pickleball. I'm Reggie Staggers, and I am joined in the studio with my wonderful co-host, Sherry Sternberg. How you doing, Sherry?
I'm doing super today, Reggie, and you?
I'm great. And I think you have some news of some tournaments in the works, right?
We do. We do want to give you some updates on local tournaments that are around. We know you can travel all over the country. There's hundreds of tournaments now, but there are some local ones for people who just want to get their feet wet. And we want to share some of those with you. The first thing we want to tell you, though, is mark your calendar for April 5th, because that is going to be a local tournament right here at the Bowie Gymnasium where the PG Pickleball Club plays. They're going to kind of do an inaugural tournament here, sponsored by the Bowie Gymnasium, with the PG Pickleball Club supporting that.
Okay.
So mark your calendars for April 5th, and more information will be coming out about that tournament. But a couple of other tournaments we want to tell you about include, we have the, Kent County Spring Fling, and we know a lot of our people participate in that. That's in Dover, Delaware on March 9th. Legends March Madness is in Boyd's, Maryland. That's on March 15th to 17th. There's also a Burden Ernie Clash, March 15th to 17th. You're going to have to choose on that one because there's two that weekend. And that one's in Hanover, PA, which isn't as far as it sounds. And then one more I want to tell you about would be the first annual TCPR, which is Talbot County Parks and Rec tournament. And that one's in April, so you have plenty of time for that. But that's in Easton, and Easton is a great location for people from this area.
Okay. So, Sherry, don't we have a special guest in the studio with us?
We have a really special guest, good friend of mine, someone who anyone who plays with the Prince George's Pickleball Club knows. She's a trailblazer, and we learned a game changer in the sport of basketball. Miss Jane Martin.
Okay, wonderful. So look, we're going to take a break, but before we do, we have some weekend warriors we want to acknowledge. And if you want to be a part of that, anytime you play in a tournament and you medaled, just send us your picture to a pickleballnation@gmail.com. We'll be back in a minute. But anyway, here's our weekend warriors. Pickleball Plus is your one-stop shop for all things pickleball. From the latest paddles, bags, clothing, shoes, nets, and the latest pickleball machine, Slinger. Pickleball Plus is your one-stop shop for all things pickleball. Calling all pickleballers, calling all pickleballers. Now the tournament season is upon us, we at Pickleball Nation want to acknowledge your accomplishments. So, if you participated in a tournament and medal, send us your picture and we will display it during our podcast as part of our shout out to Weekend Warriors. So email your picture to apickleballnation@gmail.com. Welcome back, pickleballers. Here in the studio of Pickleball Nation, I have my co-host Sherry, I'm Reggie Staggers, and we have a very special guest, Jane Martin. She is a phenomenal athlete, college scholar. Man, I'm just glad that we have her on the podcast, and Sherry's going to be asking her the first question.
So Jane, can you tell our audience a little bit about how you got started in sports?
Well, I have three brothers and one older sister, and they were all accomplished athletes. And my father, as a matter of fact, was in the Washington Metropolitan. He was an all-Met football player at McKinley Tech. He did very well, was offered scholarships. But my brothers all went on to play in school. And let's see, my father built a hoop in the backyard, and it was a dirt court. So the whole neighborhood would come play, and of course, be family competition. And I was surrounded by park and planning parks and outdoor basketball courts. So that's really all I had, and that's all we did was play that. And I guess that's about how it started.
And that start led you to tell us about the college career and how that piece developed.
I was in the right place at the right time. The only sports we had really was softball and basketball. So I played in the Boys and Girls Club. But my high school team did very well in basketball. We won the Washington metropolitan area tournaments, leagues, and not every year, but it was very competitive. And I was an all-Met player. My father used to joke that, thank God there's finally another all-Met player in the family besides himself. And it was kind of like I was in the right place at the right time. I was pegged the best player in the Washington area and was on the all-Met team. I already said that. And that was the year that scholarships were first being offered. So I was approached by several schools, one of which was the University of Maryland. And I lived about 2 miles from campus, so it was kind of a no-brainer to turn that down and pursue the other offers. So I went there and signed the first scholarship in the 1976, that March, with another athlete, Paula Gervin, who was a track and field Olympian. And again, I'd always just felt it was the right place at the right time because I played against many good players in my high school playing. And so I reaped the benefits of that.
You also understand that you helped in the University of Maryland Lady Terps win their first ACC tournament championship. Is that right?
Yes. I was a sophomore. It was fun. It was down in Greensboro, which that NC State and North Carolina, they did not like that very well. But it was an accomplishment. They had us back at the 25-year reunion. I think we have the 50 coming up. I don't know whether they'll do anything or not. So yeah, that was good. I was just part of a team there. We had some really, really good players that came from the area.
You also were acknowledged by the school. They had you come back along with, I think you mentioned something about one of your former teammates that was deceased, but they had put pictures of you guys up on a wall over there at University of Maryland. Is that correct?
Yes, there was a press release where I was photographed with Paula Gervin, who has since deceased. She was the track star. And what they did was when they transformed Cole Fieldhouse into a football training facility, they wanted to introduce, and they called it the groundbreaking, I forget exactly what they called it, shame on me, but they did, and there's a suspended track in the football training facility. So they made one around the track. They decorated the walls with big posters they called us game changers. That's what it was. It was all the female athletes who were first acknowledged. They had Paula and I signing the first scholarship. They had the first athletic director, the first female trainer who worked the men's football, and so on and so on.
So, Jane, as a game changer for basketball or trailblazer, either word is appropriate for you, but you also played other sports, correct?
I did.
Tell us a little bit about some of the other sports you engaged in.
I played women's fast pitch and slow pitch softball. And I played soccer in Boys and Girls Club. Didn't take too well to that. Could never get my feet to do what I wanted them to do. And I played golf and never really played tennis, which is strange how I got into pickleball. But yeah, and then I actually was the first to transfer from Maryland. Don't know if you want to hear about that, but my old high school coach contacted me, and she was then the coach at the Catholic University, and at that time they were Division I. And when I transferred, they wouldn't allow me to accept aid in a sport that the university you were leaving had. And obviously, University of Maryland had a basketball team. But the University of Maryland at the time did not have a softball team. So Jack Crevance, who was the athletic director at the time at Catholic University, said, well, we now have a softball team at Catholic. So that's what they awarded me the scholarship for. And we had a very good team, did very well in it's mostly local colleges. And yeah, so
It's fantastic.
those are the main sports that
Fantastic. So how did you make the transition to pickleball since you didn't play tennis?
Well, when I first started playing pickleball, it was an interesting story. I just retired in August 2015, and I was working out, it was that fall, at the South Bowie Community Center. And a girl I used to play basketball with was coming in to play drop-in pickleball at South Bowie, and her name was Debbie Scully. So I think some people may remember her. She had since moved to Florida. But she asked me, God, come in and play. And I went and looked, and I said, oh, God, that's an old people game. I'm not playing that. And then I said, okay. So I left the weight room, and I went in, and she gave me a paddle. And then Lee Richardson watched me play one game, and he grabbed a hold of me, gave me some tips and everything. I was like, all right, I'll try it. So I got in a game. And after being schooled by Trudy and Norma,
We all were schooled by them once
I
in
said,
a while.
wow, I guess it's not an old people's game. So that gave me the bug, and that was it.
That's fantastic. You also played in tournaments too, right?
I have played in tournaments. I'm not a huge fan of playing in tournaments. I like it more for the social aspect and traveling and being with friends. Some of the first tournaments I went to were with friends. I went with Sherry and my male partner, CJ, who has abandoned me. He's taken more to playing softball. And Jamie, Sandy, we used to go on trips, and we all kind of first started going to tournaments at the same time.
And they weren't just pickleball fun trips. We enjoyed many other aspects of our trips.
Yes.
Which we won't get into right
Not,
now.
not right now. Not right now.
Well, there are some celebrations when I lose.
Right. So you also have played with Mike Lonergan too, right?
Yes, Mike and I played in the Sea Colony tournament. It was great fun.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, as it happens sometimes, you get thrown in with younger groups,
Right.
which is fine, no complaints.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we did well. I think we got a silver in that one.
Great.
We lost to some 30-year-olds, but it
You
was great
used-
fun.
You used the term athleticism that got you into pickleball from your other sports, but you're not the only athlete in the family. Is that correct? I think you have a whole athletic family going on.
Oh yeah, there's well, it's kind of our life in our household. I mean, yes, our daughters would have to concentrate on their studies. So they understood how that had to carry them through even after athletics. My husband Bill, he's in the Washington Metropolitan Softball Hall of Fame. He's in the Maryland State Hall of Fame.
Wow.
He's even in some senior softball national Hall of Fames. And he still plays. He's 77 and still competes competitively at 70 and over and 75 and over throughout the country.
That's
and
fantastic.
travels around doing that. And he still gets MVPs. And our daughters, they played basketball. I would coach them in basketball. They played basketball and soccer. But they both broke my heart when they took to soccer. But I learned that game very quickly, as the rules and everything. And the oldest one got a full ride to University of Vermont after she was recruited for different schools. The younger one, she may have even been more heavily recruited, but she decided she didn't want to play in college.
Hmm.
So she focused more on her studies and social life, and that's about it. She plays rec. And I said, well, I'm kind of happy for you because when you're my age, your knees won't hurt like mine do.
So I think that's about it.
That's about it. And love talking to you, Jane, and hearing more about your family and your athleticism and your trailblazing and your game changing.
Absolutely. And I don't see any after effects from your arm being twisted to do this interview. So I'm just happy that we were able to get you on. And I appreciate my co-host, Sherry, for talking you into doing the interview. And I'd like to thank you, and I'd like to thank my co-host.
Thank
And I'd
you.
like to thank the folks out there watching the podcast. And we'll be seeing you next time.
Thanks for tuning in to Pickleball Nation. This is Joan Morse reminding you that the audio for Pickleball Nation is available wherever you get your podcasts.